Hi friends, today we're going to talk about the other side. Woo! And by the other side, I mean afterlife. What is the other side like? I want to do sort of a geography of the other side, if you will. I'm going to talk about the different buildings that are over there. I'm going to talk about the kind of stuff you get up to, about what your home looks like. So this is in my Reincarnation Explained series. I have been studying reincarnation and the afterlife and everything in between, everything having to do with that, spirit guides, etc., since I was about 13 years old, 35 years. As I've learned about near-death experiences and past life regressions and mediums and psychics, what children have to say about, because they can remember a little bit, they come into form and they remember a bit on the other side, that there is consistent reporting on what it's like on the other side. I've gathered this together and I'm going to go through in a high level what the structure or the locations or the map of the other side, if you will, is. Now, if there are any areas that you would like me to dig in deeper, because it's going to be broad, I'm going to keep it sort of at a high level. But if there's anything that you want to know a little bit more deeply and like, oh, I really want to understand more about the library, let me know. And I can do a video where I dive in deeper into that topic. Okay, so first, there are layers to the other side and to our current reality. And those layers go from density to high vibration. Okay, so the densest layer is our current existence on Earth, right? This is a very dense physical matter. We feel things, very dense energy. So why it is also so hard here is because of the denseness. The lighter the vibration gets, the easier and more comfortable it is, because that's more in alignment with our natural essence, our natural soul essence. So that's Earth. We don't need to go into Earth. You're here. You know what it's like here. Okay, the next level up. I'm going to call it purgatory because that's a familiar word. That it's not really, but there is a layer between here and what we think of as the first level of the other side, which is sort of a purgatory. This is something that we don't often go to, but it could be if you have a really tortured life, or if you've done a lot of bad and your vibrational state isn't one that you are ready for the other side, that there is this middle layer between heaven and earth that sometimes people might go to process through things before they go on to the other side. But I think there are beings or entities as well that exist in this layer, this kind of not quite so physical, hard, but not quite yet heaven, if we're going to call the next layer up heaven. I'm not going to delve into that one just because you're probably not going to be there. Not in this. I mean, it's probably nothing you're going to experience. If you're watching a video like this and what you resonate with, you're gonna pop right on. You're gonna pop right on up to the next level. You're not going to be in that really uncomfortable space. As you go up, the layers get less and less dense, and the rest of this information is going to kind of bounce between these three layers, because as a human being like you are, you're going to go into these various different realms. Like there's a one that's a little bit more like Earth, one that's a little bit more focused on learning, etc. Then there are levels above that. There are levels for those that have graduated from the earthly realm. That's where you're going to find more of those ascended masters, those teachers, Buddha and Jesus, and all those wise souls that are existing at a higher level of existence. They're there. They're still learning and growing to be done at those levels. There's not a lot about that because usually those folks aren't in physical incarnations. There have been some people that have been able to access information. There's just a little less information. I mean, a lot of us don't get to go there yet. And then finally, it's the very top level is source. It's God, if you want to use God. If that's a word that you're not comfortable with, that's also fine. It can be consciousness. It's the source. It's the all that is, and that we'll return to. And that is a place of pure love and light. It's a feeling of just complete interconnectedness. It's not God or you. God is us. And when you pass on, you will just naturally go up to the level that matches your vibration. So, again, like I said, you probably won't go to that purgatory level, if we're going to call it that, because that's probably not what your soul vibrates at. Like I said, you wouldn't be watching this if so. But depending on whatever level your soul vibrates at, you'll go to that. You'll go to that level. That you'll just naturally be like, this is where I'm in alignment. I'm in harmony. You'll go to the place that's more harmonious to your soul. Okay, so now let's get into the details about what it is like on the other side. The thing that is fascinating to me is it's not like I can say it's going to look like this and this and this and this, because the experience of the other side is very unique to the individual. So you'll see, like when people do have near death experiences, that they can be describing the same place, but in very different ways. Like some people meet Jesus when they pass over, but not everybody does. Things can look a lot of different ways depending on your soul, your preferences as a soul, what you want to experience, what your life experiences have been like. I don't know, maybe it's kind of like the Matrix. There's an underlying reality, and there's on top of it like a maybe programming or code, in the sense it's very unique to you and how you experience it. What it is the same for all, but the experience of it is unique to you. That said, there do seem to be commonalities. There's a lot of Greek columns, apparently. People, as they see the other side, talk a lot about buildings with Greek columns, which is like, also, that makes me wonder, like, before Greece, what did it look like before there were Greek columns? You know, it seems to be very popular because of our collective consciousness, I think, and how we interpret things. There also are a lot of gardens. You hear about that a lot when you learn about past lives and near-death experiences. There are lots of gardens on the other sides, and there are different types of gardens for different things. There's gardens for reflection. There's gardens for meeting up with folks. There's your own personal garden. There's gardens of healings. They really like gardens on the other side, I guess. Or I should say we do. We really like gardens on the other side. There's also a lot of talk about a healing and restoration center. So this sometimes is described as like a hospital. So for some folks that have had particularly traumatic or challenging lives, they will often go there when they first get to the other side, in order to heal the trauma and the damage that they've been through. Or maybe they've had some sort of a psychological impairment in their physical form. Maybe their passing was particularly traumatic. There's a place for them to rest and to heal before they rejoin the others. It sounds like it's a really lovely, peaceful place. And I think my experience has been too that when somebody passes over, and maybe you want to connect with them, and maybe you want to talk to a medium and they're not answering you, you're like, where are you? My belief, and I don't know this for sure, but my intuition has told me when that has happened to me, that they're in this healing center. I have somebody particular in my life that I wanted to connect with after he passed, and he had a very challenging, traumatic life. And the information I was given was that he was in this healing center and needed to really heal and take care of himself before he could come and have a little chit chat with me, or with anybody else. So just keep that in mind, that if somebody that they might just need a moment. They might just need a moment on the other side to just get back to themselves before they're ready to regain their regular life on the other side. Now let's talk about animals. I think it would be interesting to do a whole video on animals, because there's a lot to say about that. And there are people that specialize in working with animals. I'm not one of them. You see them in your life, the people that like have 50 animals that they take care of. Different people specialize in different things. So there are people that specialize in animals. So on the other side, there are a lot of different spaces for animals. The one that I've heard the most in everything that I've learned is this place that's just of like play, that when our animals pass, they go, it's like fields, and they're frolicking and they're jumping around and they're playing and all the animals are hanging out together, and it's a very joyful place. And that's also a place where we can go and interact with them. But they also have their own realms. There's realms for wild animals, and it sounds like it's these, just wild vistas, wild locations that they're able to roam. There's healing areas for animals because animals go through traumatic lives. There's places where maybe realms where we're interacting with them more. Anyway, all that to say, animals have their own spaces. We don't incarnate as animals, by the way. That's not true. So if you think in your past life you were a duck, you were not. We're different soul types. We're different. We do partner with each other and we learn from each other. They're their own type of being. So you've gone to the other side. You walked through the gardens. You've seen some Greek columns in the distance. You went and visited your cat Spot, who you missed in the little frolicking garden. Spot's doing good. Spot's living life. So you're going to then find yourself more in your zone. Again, this is going to be different. If you are an older soul, you might skip past this part entirely. But for those that are more younger, middle souls, even mature souls, we have our own space. Like we have our own neighborhoods. We can recreate our houses that we live in here in form, because what we think we can create on the other side. It isn't a materially dense place. We don't need boards of wood to make things happen. Things are created through energy, through our thoughts. So if you want to, like if you had a house that you grew up in that you really loved, that you want to, when you pass over, that you decide you want to live in it, you can live in that house. And you will find you have a soul family. So that's a group of souls, and I'm going to cover that on a who's who on the other side. But you have a group of souls that you incarnate with over and over again. And those souls are going to be in your neighborhood. Again, on the other side, this may look like very traditionally like houses and like neighborhoods, or this could look really esoteric, like clusters of grapes. It depends on your soul age and your soul needs on how you perceive things. But in essence, there is a zone that is for you, and that is for the people that you incarnate with the most. That is part of your soul family, right? That have grown up with you. As you go out, there are other communities, there are other souls in other areas, other neighborhoods that might be souls that you incarnate with frequently, but aren't necessarily your soul family. So not the people that you incarnate with over and over again, but that you're like, yeah, you were my wife in another life. I was your teacher over there. So you can go and hang out with each other at different times of life that's happening over there. So they're really organized by vibrational frequency, these neighborhoods. So again, what your vibrational frequency is, really sets the tone and the experience on the other side. And you go to different areas based off of your frequency. It's like your address. Like your vibration's kind of like your address or your code, that you go and you match up with your code, your vibrational code. So there's that. Now, another area that you hear a lot about, that I hear a lot about, and it's my favorite place to go to when I'm meditating and I want to go and visit the other side or whatever, is the library. For me, this kind of looks like something out of Harry Potter, but it can look like a variety of things. In this library, you go in and there's books upon books and upon books. Now, these books, every one of us has a book on the other side. You can go into the library and you can pull down a book of your life or another person's life and you open it up. And what I have learned about is that what the experience usually is that either it's like a movie on the pages, or you actually go into it so that you're existing into it like a virtual reality sort of an experience. And you get to experience that life. It's like a virtual reality experience. You drop into that life and you get to experience what it was like. So like if you want to go and find out what it was like to be Queen Elizabeth, you just pop over to the library, pull out her book, and just pop into her life. I think that might be why a lot of people think that they're these famous people when they remember their reincarnations, why so many people are famous people. I think it's because they went and they pulled off the book and they went and they experienced that life on the other side, and they're a little confused that that wasn't actually their life, but they were able to experience what that life may have been like. So this place, this library, is often called the place of Akashic records. Akashic records, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you, that is a very weird term. I will tell you, I personally have a reaction to the word Akashic records. I'm not real comfortable with it, but I like thinking about the library of books instead. But Akashic records essentially is just the record of everything that has happened and the record of your life and the lives to come, etc. It's like all knowledge. So this library is pretty expansive, as you can imagine. So, like a library, this is a place that you as a soul go to study. There are things that you are learning, right? Even on the other side, we learn a lot in physical form. We still are studying on the other side, and we'll go to this library if there are particular things we want to understand or learn. There are guides there too. There are library guides or your own personal guides that will help you in whatever it is that you're wanting to learn. It's also here that you plan your next incarnation. So there's also a room. It gets described different ways. It's very frequently described as like you're in a movie theater where there's screens that you preview your life to come on these screens. And so you have an awareness of what you're about to jump into, or you can make different plans and you can actually have different screens looking at different options of bodies to incarnate into. So it's here at this library, this learning center, that you're able to make a lot of those plans. You also have study groups. You might be studying with your soul family, different things, because you have shared experiences and shared karma and lessons. And so there might be things that you are studying. You might have other groups of souls that you work with if you're dealing with particular issues. You, for example, might be in your soul career somebody who is, well, let's go back to the animal thing. Let's say you're somebody who's focused on helping animals. You might have a study group that you work with that are specifically people that work with animals, and that you're learning how better can you work with animals. Looking at different experiences that have happened and just deeper understanding, and or how did this work for you? Just it's a learning and growing. In these study groups, you're going to be working on different themes, different skills. Maybe you're working on leadership. Maybe you're working on teaching. Maybe you're working on jealousy or judgment. Whatever challenges that you've had in your life, on the other, and if you haven't overcome it in this life, you can do work on the other side to continue to grow and learn, so that when you get back into physical form, you'll be able to do it better. You'll be able to be more successful and learn it and get through it. However, you don't learn as fast on the other side as you do here. The amount of growth you can get through in a lifetime will take you far longer on the other side. That's why incarnating into physical form is preferred. If you thought that when you got to the other side, you just got to hang out with your dog and play in the gardens, apparently not. You still got to get to work over there. Another thing that I've only heard about or read about in a couple of different places, but it is really fascinating, is there is this tapestry of existence. It's this, imagine a long hallway, I guess, this long tapestry, and all of these little threads are lives. But you can go and see this tapestry of existence and gain an understanding about how everything interweaves and is interconnected. I hear it's very beautiful, and it's something to behold and experience. That's a big, broad overview. It's a big place. There's a lot going on over there. It's hard to sum it all up in one video. So if there's anything that particularly resonated with you or that you would like to learn more about, leave me a comment and let me know what video you would like to have next. If I hear that there's something people want to know more about, I am going to do a video about it. That's what happened with the suicide video. I did my video on the truth about reincarnation, which was a big, big, big overview. And there was an ask to understand reincarnation. So I did a deep dive into that. I will share what I know, and I will do further research to bring it together so that you have an understanding about this framework of existence, whether it's in this life or in the next life or in the afterlife between. It's a fascinating and extensive subject, and I love talking about this. And so thank you. Thank you for staying this long and for enjoying this subject with me. I appreciate it. And yeah, here's to life, huh? See you next time.